Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the On Season Sports Podcast. I'm Noah, joined by Alex on the other end.
How's it going?
And today we are finally back after taking a 2-week break from the podcast. We had some school things to do, lots of midterm exams and other things, personal life we had to take care of. So we are back. This is March. This will be the March 4th episode. We're recording this on March 3rd. So we have a little bit to talk about. First things first. We're in March. Welcome to March, everybody. Great. It's a great month for sports. College basketball starts heating up. NHL starting to come to a close. MLB at the end of the month. Opening day. NBA is going to come to a close soon. NFL's almost to the draft in April. So we got a lot to talk about. And hopefully we'll keep her around an hour today. We got a lot of college basketball and not a lot of NHL per usual. So we are going to start it off a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Unorthodox, I believe. And we're going to talk about boxing. All right. This will probably be about the only time we talk about boxing, unless it's Antonio Brown and Logan Paul, or
until they fight again.
Exactly.
July.
Until Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fight again for the third time in July. We won't be covering boxing until then.
Quick side note: Khabib called out
McGregor,
Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, really?
So
wait, Khabib is? Oh yeah, he's a boxer. I'm an idiot.
Well, and I might be completely wrong, but from my understanding, Khabib is like a ground and pound type player. Like he's not a stand-up boxer.
Exactly.
But I mean, I don't watch fighting like that, but
yeah, it's good entertainment. It's good entertainment.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to February 22nd, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now. Tyson Fury did give Deontay Wilder his first TKO, as they called it. He was knocked down 3 times, so I think that they have to call it, or he knocked him out. I didn't watch the fight. I just heard about it.
It's a ref decision.
Oh, okay.
That's
either way. Wilder was complaining about his 40-pound knight in shining armor suit that he wore out, while Tyson Fury was carried out in his, they call him the Gypsy King. They carried him out on a throne. So he saved his legs from walking, I guess. But Tyson Fury's a big man.
Yeah. That guy is built.
He's also
not built.
Yeah, yeah. He also tweeted, like, after he won, he said, "You can't get a DUI if you're riding on a throne in the middle of Las Vegas," or something like that. So
he was drunk.
Yeah, so the man is just a savage human being. But I don't really have anything else other than boxing or UFC type things. I'm not a huge into that.
Just gotta acknowledge
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So we'll move on to some more exciting news. Not really exciting, but we're going to start out with the NBA. Now, in the NBA, since we last talked to you, there would have been about 50-ish games. It was right at the end of the All-Star break, I believe, when we last talked. But now we're about 60-ish games into the NBA season. And the Milwaukee Bucks at 52-9 have clinched a playoff spot. They're the first team to 50 wins. They're number 1 in the Eastern Conference. And the Lakers are 46-13 at the top of the Western Conference. There's still a lot of games to be played. And I realize the NBA needs to shrink playoffs. I say that because in the Eastern Conference, you have a team that is 52-9. Then you fall to 42, 41, 39, 37 wins in your top 6 teams have 37 wins. Then you go to the Magic, who are 27-34. They're 7 games under 500, and they're the 7th seed. And same with the Brooklyn Nets. They're 26-33. They're 7 games below 500, which is crazy. And then when you look at it, the Washington Wizards are only 4 games back of the 8th seed.
Without John Wall.
Without John Wall, and Bradley
All
Beal's
year.
dropping 50-point games like it's nothing.
And losing.
On,
Both
on the
games.
other hand, the Western Conference is a little better, but their 8th seed is still 30-31. But I would love to see a playoffs Ja Morant, I'm not going to lie.
John Morant's great television.
Who else? Nothing else that stands out here in standings. I'll just go the 8th seed, or both 8 teams in each conference go as Milwaukee Bucks, the Toronto Raptors, Boston Celtics, Miami Heat, Indiana Pacers, Philadelphia 76ers, Orlando Magic, and the Brooklyn Nets. And in the Western Conference, we got the Lakers, Denver Nuggets, LA Clippers, Houston Rockets, Utah Jazz, Oklahoma City Thunder, Dallas Mavericks, and the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, I believe since we last met, Zion Williamson didn't play a minute in the game, I believe. And when we were about to record a podcast last week, it didn't fall through, but LeBron played Zion. That was a big talk in the NBA for about a week. Now, Zion the past couple weeks has been throwing down left and right. He looks to be an improved 300-pound machine, or whatever they say he is.
Did you see the video of him giving JaVale McGee's jersey?
Yeah, but
he didn't take
JaVale
JaVale McGee's jersey?
exactly.
It's just charity at this
Yeah.
point. Like who? He's like nobody wants a JaVale McGee jersey. Like
Exactly. I wouldn't want a JaVale McGee jersey. I'm surprised LeBron didn't ask to switch with Zion, but
I'm sure there'll be
plenty of times.
battles later
Exactly.
in their career where
When LeBron's about to retire.
they'll have- Yeah.
All right, let's move on. One more thing on the NBA, actually. On First Take this morning, at ESPN's First Take, Spike Lee was on there. There was something went at the Knicks game. They suck. No one watches, so they needed someone to do something to get everyone's attention. But apparently Spike Lee's been going to games for 10 years or however long now, and he's been at every Knicks home game. And they calculated it's roughly about $300,000 a year that he spends on tickets. And maybe it was more than 10 years. It had to be more than 10 years. He's basically given the Knicks roughly $10 million for tickets and other expenses over the past, I don't know how many years. I wasn't really paying attention. But if the Knicks are in much need of support, and they're not going to get it from Spike Lee.
Yeah, I mean, he said he's not going to any more games at Madison Square Garden this year, which honestly helps him. I mean, why would you want to go watch them?
Exactly. They're awful. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible.
Like, I understand being a diehard fan, but not even Drake. Drake doesn't go to all the games.
Yeah.
And the Raptors are good.
Exactly. Well,
it doesn't make sense. It's good for him. Don't go to the games.
Good for you, Spike Lee. Save money for once, like all of us white middle class people do.
all of us mediocre.
Yeah, exactly. We're just average to him. We're below average to Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Screw that guy. Moving on. Done with the NBA. We're gonna talk about the NHL. And in the NHL, I think we kept it short and sweet, and we just talked about the standings the last time. This time, we actually have some news. A couple things I have. One, the NHL had probably the craziest trade deadline I've ever seen. There was trades going out left and right. Guys are moving across the country. It was crazy. Just notable from what I've seen, Jason Zucker from the Wild, because we're up in the Midwest. Moved to Pittsburgh. The Ducks signed David Backes, who's like 96 years old. I'm not going to get any more trades. That's boring to me. The other thing, actually 2 more things. I lied. I had 3 things altogether. Another thing, Alexander Ovechkin got his 700th goal while we were away past couple weeks. And the Carolina Hurricanes had some weird action. I think this happened a couple years ago, where their starting goalie got hurt, and then their backup got hurt as well. So they needed an emergency goalie, and I believe his name is David Ayers, and he drives Zamboni at some hockey rink somewhere. He suited up, got the win for the Carolina Hurricanes. It's a pretty cool story, but
it was a shutout too.
yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't think he let in any goals.
I don't think he let a goal in.
But yeah, we're gonna just go through the standings, keep NHL short and sweet. But they are at 66 to 65 ish games played right now. So there's what's that make that 12 games left? Is that right? Yeah, I think they play 82 or 81. 12 games left. Am I stupid? 16 games left. I'm sorry. Yeah. 16 games left. When we look at the Eastern Conference, we have the Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning tied at 41 wins. But the Bruins have 94 points and Tampa Bay has 87. The Caps are at 86 points and 40 wins. The Flyers are 83. Pittsburgh is 80. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got the New York Islanders at 78. Toronto Maple Leafs at 78. Columbus Blue Jackets at 78. And the Carolina Hurricanes at 75. Creeping into that last mix would be the New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers at 74 and 73. And the Detroit Red Wings, through 68 games, have been officially eliminated from the playoffs. They are astonishing 15-win, 48-loss team.
Jesus.
And I believe they have lost 8 of their last 10, and they have lost in overtime once in one of those. So, the Western Conference goes with the returning Stanley Cup champs, St. Louis Blues, at 40 wins, 17 losses, and 90 points. The Avalanche are second with 87. Dallas is at 81. The Knights are at 80. Edmonton Oilers are at 78. Calgary Flames are at 75. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one's not set up nice like the NBA one was. But there's 74 points of the Vancouver Canucks and 72. I take that back. Nashville, Winnipeg, and Arizona are all tied at 72, and the Wild are in the hunt. They're 1 point back from that last wild card spot. So we're going to transition.
After trading, they traded a couple of guys.
Yeah, I think so. They traded away a couple guys, got a couple guys. They're just looking to finish. If they get the wild card, it's going to be crazy because they were the worst team in the NHL at one point in the season.
And one quick thing I want to say about the Wild, from a person watching from afar, they always seem to be a team that's right around mediocrity, where they're right at towards the. Do they make the playoffs? Do they not make the playoffs?
Yeah, they're always that. They're always that bubble team that.
They should either rebuild or sign people.
They're so timid. I think every Minnesota sports, besides the Twins have kind of came around the last couple of years, but it feels like Minnesota sports teams are timid at going to get that big name guy that will push them over that bubble to a division winner. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
The Wild will never win their division or conference because they don't want to go out and they're all about Mikko Koivu. They're all about those hometown guys that have been there for 40 years, but they can't keep up with a Jack Hughes who's 19 years old. I just don't get it. That's why I don't follow hockey that much, because I don't like teams don't trade. There's no
how set teams are on their players that they have rather than making their roster.
Exactly. And I get the NHL is a little, how do I want to say that, decreased in salary cap between the NBA, the NFL, MLB.
Yeah.
But it's not fun to watch when you got teams with 35 points.
But a lot of that salary cap deals with the ratings.
Exactly.
The money that they're generating from ratings, and with teams not becoming as exciting because they don't move players.
Yeah.
That's how the ratings are going to dip. The ratings jumped when they got Las Vegas, but now that kind of honeymoon period has dropped, and it's I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's actually dropped, but I feel like
No,
it
yeah,
has.
it's
It has
definitely felt fallen off. I mean, I feel like the only time people actually watch the NHL is in the playoffs. Um,
yeah.
because it's exciting. It's
And,
not the same teams every year
yeah.
because there's no dynasty like the Patriots in the NFL or the Yankees and the Dodgers because they got so much money, or whatever team LeBron's on. Or
Unless you want to argue Pittsburgh a couple
that's
years
true.
ago. What was it,
Pittsburgh
like
did.
6, 7 years
Yeah,
ago?
they went to the finals quite a bit. They didn't win them all. Bruins were like that too. They're always at the top, but they don't always win them. Um, but as of right now, I'm not watching the NHL until playoffs. So
And I probably wouldn't watch until conference finals. Anyway.
exactly.
It gets better at that point.
Mm-hmm. So I think we have.
Well, and also, sorry, quick point.
No, you're fine.
Uh, when you watch the Wild in the playoffs, like how I said about the mediocrity, this is not only true for the Wild, but just teams in general. You see how much faster teams are at skating with the younger players. I mean,
Yeah.
You watch Connor McDavid.
He's a filthy individual on the ice, and I don't know. It's just
that's all I have to
the
say.
teams that go out and get more assets to their team end up winning. Besides the Lightning, they got absolutely shit rocked last year, and they were 100+ point team.
Yeah, they got dropped in the first round. Correct?
Yeah, they got swept.
Yeah. So see, it's just taking the tough decision that you have to tank and you have to rebuild. I mean, look at the 76ers 6 years ago. They won like 10 games.
Yeah.
It's a scary thing to jump into it, but sometimes it's the thing that you need to do.
Someone's got to put the foot in the door, start something.
Yeah.
All right. I think I've had enough in the NHL. So we're going to move on to MLB. In Major League Baseball, spring training's going on, obviously. The Padres are 9-1 in the Cactus League with the Brewers at 6-3. Standings don't really matter here. The Miami Marlins, who were the worst team in the MLB last year, have 8 wins and 3 losses, and they're at the top of the Grapefruit League.
Shout out to you.
As of no surprise, the Astros. I wonder if do they show spring training stats? Let's see. Let's see how many times they've been hit, if I can.
There's a Twitter account that actually keeps track of it.
Really?
Yeah.
So I can't go like individual, see who has the most hit by pitch. But either way, they're getting hit. They're getting, I think, what they deserve. But on the other hand, I really want to see them succeed. I
don't know if I want to go that far.
I was a fan of the Astros. They were like my AL team that I would root for. Low key, it was like on the side.
You're big Alex Bregman
I
fan.
love that man, and I don't know, something about him. They just got my heart. And so when I see them do that, it hurts me. And I want them to come out and prove that they don't need all this shit that happened.
Yeah.
And just prove all these people that are just hating on them right now, just to prove them wrong. But
well, in an ideal world, the Astros go out and they prove that they didn't actually need them, and they're actually a good team. I mean, the roster is getting scrutiny because teams or people in the media think that they were only good because they knew what pitches were coming.
Exactly,
So
and it wasn't.
The best way to prove it wrong is to win. That's the only way to prove it wrong.
And I don't know. I hope they do that. That's my thoughts. But
I also want them to see them miss the playoffs just as kind of a
like
screw
up,
you to the
up
Astros.
yours type deal.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to more MLB news. I saw a picture on Instagram earlier, something about the New York Yankees. I couldn't find it, but so I'm just gonna look it up. But the New York Yankees are having some injury and health problems right now. Aaron Judge just hurt his shoulder. It sounds like he's gonna be out a while. He's not. It's unlikely to be ready by opening day. It's about
They actually ruled him out today. Stanton.
Yeah,
and
and
Judge
I was just
are
gonna
both ruled
say
out for opening day.
Stanton. Oh, they were officially ruled out for opening day.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Stanton has a calf injury. It says he's expected to play sometime in April, so we don't know how long away we'll see him. But it sounds like Judge hopefully will be back in the opening week. We never know. They also have Aaron Hicks, who is their starting center fielder, I believe. He probably won't start or come back until June or July, it says. James Paxton, middle of the man rotation. He's going to begin to throw later this week or earlier.
He had surgery at the end of the year, correct?
I believe so, yes.
He's just recovering.
Yes. Luis Severino, or is it Severino? Severino. This was when we were gone before we talked last, on February 27th. He was told he needed Tommy John surgery, so he will be out the rest of the year.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
Yep, he will be out the rest of the, I guess the entire year. It's about a 9 to 12 month recovery, so you won't see Luis Severino until next year.
That's a big one, actually.
Other than that, I don't see any more injuries that I thought. It said there was like 6 guys, but I guess not. What do we have? Do you have anything else for the MLB? Well, I guess what we could talk about is, as of March 3rd at 9 o'clock, it is a rumor, most likely going to happen sometime soon, that Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers is going to be getting a contract extension through the year 2028, and he will have a player option in 2029, and it's somewhere in the ballpark of $215 million. So if this goes through,
he's about to get paid.
I will be happy, super happy. I don't even know what I'll do, but I'll be super happy to see Christian Yelich in a blue and yellow jersey for the next 9 to 10 years.
So where do you think he ranks as a baseball player right now in the MLB?
Like all time, or just in the MLB?
No, like this year, coming into this year, where would you rank him?
Okay, so my thing is, if he comes off this knee injury that took him out last year and continues what he was doing towards the end of the season, he will make another run for the MVP. I
agree with that.
I would, if I were to go out of all players, I would say it's hard to say with pitchers, I guess, but like just position players.
Well, yeah, we'll go with position players.
I would go. Mike Trout's an easy number one for me. I think Mike Trout's the most all-around player that the MLB has ever seen. Ronald Acuna, I'm going to say Christian Yelich would be like my third-ranked MLB player at the moment. If he comes back healthy and continues to do what he did, I think Ronald Acuna would be my 2, just because I think he's more fundamentally sound in the field. I don't like the way Christian Yelich plays defense very much. He's slow at times, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he's on the break of the ball in the outfield. Yeah, but Acuna's he's trending more towards a 5-tool player.
Oh yeah,
like Trout is the true 5-tool player. There hasn't been I don't want to say that, but in this era, he's the best 5-tool player.
Yeah, Mike Trout will go down as probably the greatest baseball player ever to play the game, and you can put that on the books. That's what I don't think.
Yeah, I would have him as at the end of his career the number 1 baseball player ever.
Exactly. I don't think anyone in the next however long I'm alive, I will see another baseball player come out of high school, like 2 years out of high school at the age of 20, and see what he was doing when he started to what he's done now, and what he's going to do in the future. So that's just me. Would you put him at your 3 as well?
For Yelich?
Yes.
I would have Trout and Acuna, and I think I would have Mookie Betts, just because his wins above replacement is always at the top.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, and then him and Bellinger are about neck and neck, as close as it can be. I would give Yelich the edge
I
over
think
Bellinger,
Yelich goes more for an average, where Cody Bellinger is just trying to hit the long ball, but he's still a good contact hitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Let me look up.
It look like when you watch them both play, it looks like Bellinger's just trying to swing for the fence and accidentally hits like a base hit or double, where Christian Yelich is trying to get that base hit or double in the gap and he hits a home run.
He's trying to hit in the gap.
He's not trying to hit the home run, but it just comes to him. That's why I think those two are separated.
The one really good thing about Bellinger this last year is he cut down his strikeouts. He was at 146 in 2017, 151 in 2018 to 108. So he cut down on almost 30, 40 strikeouts.
Yeah. I definitely think.
I remember.
I definitely think that's what. Well, not even that, but like that's a deciding factor in that MVP vote this year too. Was if
the plate discipline.
Yeah, he definitely improved from when he took second in MVP voting as a hitter behind Christian Yelich to the year after. He's improved. He's got better plate discipline. He's got better eyes up there. That's what just set him over the top. I also think it would have been a lot closer of an MVP voting if Christian Yelich played the rest of the season and into the playoffs. But that'll never happen because we can't go back in the past. So. All right, got anything else for the MLB?
That's all. That's all I have.
All right.
I believe.
Yeah. Let's see. I can just check and see if there's any trending baseball other than that. I think that's about it. All right, that's fine with me. We will move on to the NFL. All right. So in the NFL, the past week there was the NFL Combine. They had measurements and stuff. Joe Burrow's got small hands. So does who's the other quarterback that they always talk about? Jake Fromm has small hands as well.
Who had a terrible combine.
Yeah, exactly.
I've heard so many things that his combine was terrible, so that's not great for him.
All right, so when we look at this, I'm just gonna Did you watch the combine at all? Or you just see highlights?
I saw highlights, but did you see the thing about Jacob Eason and an anonymous GM quote said, "The guy can throw fucking dots."
Really?
That's what he's. Yeah.
To who? About who?
So, about Easton, Jacob Eason.
Where's he from?
Washington.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I'm not a huge watcher of Washington sports.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I think part of it's a smoke screen also for teams to look away from maybe Tua or Justin Herbert.
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't think Jacob Eason goes first round, but I mean, there's been talks of 5 quarterbacks going in the first round since last month.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. Well,
That's all I have to say.
No, yeah. What we'll do is I'll give you like top 5 to top 10 guys for like each workout that I have at least. But just to start it out with the 40-yard dash, Henry Ruggs III from Alabama ran a 4.27, the fastest of the 2020 combine. Damn, is that fast? I can't even imagine.
Yeah. And people were complaining on Bleacher Report because they were hyping up him that he might beat John Ross, and they were like, "You had me hyped up that he was going to beat the record, and he lost by 0.07 seconds."
Yeah,
like, that is incredibly fast. How could you?
Yeah, well, when we look at it, the next guy was 4.29. Is it Javelin K. Goodry from Utah? He's a cornerback. But then it just falls off from there. We got Quez Watson from Southern Miss at a 4.35. Well, I shouldn't even say falls off. Are you kidding me? I can't even imagine running that fast. Then we got a safety out of Louisiana Tech. He ran a 4.37. A Baylor wide receiver ran a 4.38. Tulane wide receiver ran a 4.38. But then we get to, there's a bunch of guys tied for 4.39. One in which is the linebacker from Clemson, Isaiah Simmons. Oh my God, is this man going to be an athlete in the NFL? Let me tell you, I will put money on it that this man will be defensive rookie of the year next year.
That's a bold statement. But the big thing with Isaiah Simmons is his character is what's keeping him also, along with his talent, in the top 10. He wears the number 18 jersey at Clemson. What do you know what the 18 jersey means?
No, what?
So the number 18 jersey is given to the team leader.
Oh yeah.
In kind of the community and like their captain. So I mean, notable players wear that. I think Hunter Renfrow wore 18. So it goes to their high character players. So that's what NFL teams are looking for now is the great locker room guys, and I think Isaiah Simmons will bring that, and he's an incredible athlete.
Yeah.
So I think he's about as safe as they come in the linebacker crew.
All right, so tied with him, tied in a 40-yard dash, Isaiah Simmons. Let me tell you this. Hold on, give me 1 second. This man is 6'4" tall, 238 pounds. A redshirt junior, right? He ran a 4.39 40-yard dash. He jumped 39 inches in the air, and I believe, hold on, I got to do some math really quick to figure this out. He jumped 11 feet in a broad jump, unofficially. They have him at a 7.08 on the prospect grade, and he is that is considered Pro Bowl talent. But anyway, tied with this 6'4" linebacker out of Clemson, we have Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin at a 4.39, the fastest running back in the combine this year.
Which is
he had a phenomenal
for him to run that
he had a phenomenal combine. I'm not gonna lie.
And I was watching clips out of the backfield with him catching balls out of the backfield, which has been kind of his knock in college.
Yep.
I think he caught 44 passes or 45 passes in all of his college career. So for him to run crisp routes to catch out of the backfield, it only boosts up his stock as well as him running that fast.
Yeah, exactly. Another notable running back that had a good combine would be A.J. Dillon out of Boston College. He was basically first in both jumps. He had a solid 40 time. Let's see. Jonathan Taylor had... That doesn't matter. We don't care about that. Yeah. Either way, some fast guys this year. We're going to go bench press. Some O-linemen from Fresno State had 44 bench press. That's absolutely insane. 5 off the record. That's crazy. I'm trying to look for the one offensive lineman. Let me sort through offensive linemen quick. We're going to go 40-yard dash. I need to look at Tristan.
Oh, Mekhi Becton?
Oh, Mekhi Becton. Never heard of him. But we're going to look at... We're going to do an insider analysis.
Like 336.7.
Tristan Wirfs from Iowa.
Wirfs.
He ran a 4.85 40, okay? Let me tell you this man's credentials. 6'5", 320 pounds. This man weighs roughly over 100 pounds more than me, and he's 5 inches taller than me, and he's running under 5-second 40s. That is nuts.
That is insane. Think about how much... He's that big and he's moving that fast. That's insane.
Exactly. He also had a 36.5 vert jump and a 121 broad jump. Man's an athlete. He's going to be good wherever he goes. He'll be first-round talent in my book. That's just me.
He vaulted himself up in the draft. When you talk about these combine athletes, that is a combine athlete.
Yes,
right
exactly. Let's see. Who else do we got? Anyone else? Should we look at quarterbacks? Let's see who the fastest quarterback was. Out of Hawaii, Cole McDonald. 4.58. I heard that Jalen Hurts actually had a pretty good combine. There's a lot of talks,
I didn't
same
see- I
talks that
didn't see
Lamar
it.
Jackson had. Talks that they should move him to wide receiver. I don't think Jalen Hurts could ever be a wide receiver in my book. I just can't see it. So,
Well, it didn't exactly work out for Braxton Miller, so
yeah, exactly.
I feel like they're kind of the same build, aren't they?
Yeah.
Him and Braxton. I don't know. I feel like they think that quarterback and wide receiver are so interchangeable.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah. I don't know if I have anything else on the combine. Do you have anything?
Not that I can think of. I didn't watch it a lot.
Yeah. Well, on the top of my head for NFL news, there really isn't that much left to talk about.
AJ Boye got traded today.
Yeah, he went to the Broncos, I saw, correct?
Yeah, for a 4th-round pick.
That's it? Just a 4th-round pick?
Yeah.
Well, I also saw that Stephen A. Smith came out and said that Jameis Winston would be a perfect fit for the New England Patriots. That's considering that Tom Brady is going to Tennessee, I believe. I just don't see how he could go to Tennessee. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you know what I saw today? I saw, I can't remember on what website it was, but it was Bleacher Report that the 49ers' interest in Tom Brady is real.
No way.
That
That
I-
is the
I saw- I can
biggest
look and
bullshit I have ever heard of. I believe the
that, I'm
post,
like-
but that whoever wrote that should be slapped upside the head.
he heard it from a separate source. I don't even know how reliable this source is and what else, but that is horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you imagine going to the Super Bowl with a quarterback that you just paid a lot of money for an extension in his first year in the offense, really, because he was injured
Yeah.
all of the year before? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you're gonna bring in his basically who he was backup for, and then make him his backup again.
Yeah, that would be the most. That'd be so full circle. It'd be
That would be
crazy.
the worst thing
Oh.
ever.
Jags are trading or want to trade Nick Foles after signing him to the ginormous contract.
Yeah, I think they're gonna put a lot of trust into Gardner Minshew. I think he could be a solid quarterback. I'm not gonna lie. I think he needs to get more comfortable in a starting position. Maybe a little more comfortable with Doug Marone's offense. Is that who the coach is there? I think I said that right. Is that Marone?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's Marone. I don't know how he didn't get fired.
Yeah, for
But
real.
they said that they want to start Gardner Minshew, which why not? That team's gonna be so god awful next year. Why? That's the only way they're gonna get the fan base into it is if they start Gardner. They'll get more money that
Yeah,
way.
that's true.
For the culture, that's all it is.
While we were our 2 weeks off, they also the NFL CBA, as they call it, I don't know what it stands for, came out and basically offered a 17-game season and some changes to the playoffs. I don't really know. I don't think it's going to be changed this year. It might be changed next year, but that's all I have. Anything else you got on the NFL?
Something I just saw that the Buccaneers are unlikely to re-sign Jameis, and that the Buccaneers are wanting Teddy Bridgewater.
I could see it. Teddy Bridgewater's going to be a solid quarterback.
Yeah, I feel like he could
He'll
be-
get points on the board. He proved it with the Vikings the year that Blair Walsh screwed him over. And obviously he proved this year with the Saints that he could be a good backup role.
Yeah, he was undefeated.
Yeah, so I don't know. It should be a weird once free agents open up.
Just 2 weeks.
I
Right?
think so. It's a couple weeks away, but it should be interesting. We'll see. But let's move on to our final topic, as we are at about 40 minutes, so we're perfect. We can talk for college basketball for another 40 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen. I'll bore everyone listening to this to sleep. But we are going to move on to men's college basketball. Now, the past 2 weeks Yes, we understand that we have missed a lot of upsets, and a lot has changed since the last time we have talked to you guys. As I said at the beginning of our show, we are in March. March Madness is probably the best time I have watching basketball all year long. College basketball to me is way better than the NBA because they're actually playing for their school and not money. But sooner than later, with player likeness and however they're going to be paying college athletes, and it might change. I hope it doesn't. I like watching college basketball. But we're going to start it out with we're going to talk about this week's March 3rd, the week of March 3rd, or week 18 AP poll right now, and then we'll go over some upsets and how everything has changed in the past 2 weeks. Well, actually, we can just do that. The last time we talked to you, Baylor was our number 1 seed, Zaga was 2, Kansas 3, San Diego State 4, Dayton, Duke, Maryland, Florida State, Penn State, Kentucky are your top 10. Louisville was 11, Villanova, Auburn, Oregon, and Creighton are your top 15. At this point, Michigan State had 87 votes, LSU had 55, Michigan had 83, Texas Tech had 92. The week after that, we had some crazy upsets. Baylor went from having a 23-1 record to going 24-2. Kansas went to 24-3, but Kansas did jump up the week after to number 1. Kansas was there. Baylor went down to 2. Gonzaga fell to 3. Dayton moved up to 4. San Diego State lost. They're 26-1, and they went down 1 spot. In the top 10, what moved would be Florida State, Duke, Kentucky, Maryland, and Creighton. Louisville still outside at 11. Michigan State moved into the top 25. Michigan moved into the top 25. Who else moved in? Texas Tech moved in. BYU sneaked up. But we're just going to update you on this week's. This came out on Monday, I believe. And as we sit here now, Kansas is still at the top. They're 26-3. Gonzaga surpassed Baylor after Baylor has lost another game. They're 25-3 at the 4 seed, or the 4 rank, or whatever you want to call it. But Zaga's 2, Dayton's 3. They moved up. San Diego State still 28-1. They're at number 5. Kentucky is 6, Florida State 7, Seton Hall 8. Maryland sneaks into the top 10 at number 9, and Louisville finally moved up to number 10. From there, they go Creighton 11, Duke 12, Oregon 13, Villanova 14, BYU 15. Michigan State moved up 8 spots. They're 20-9. They're at the 16. Auburn 17, Iowa's 18. Ohio State, Penn State, both Big Ten teams kind of swapped around. Houston moved up, Virginia moved up, Illinois moved up, Wisconsin moved into the top 25 after beating Michigan, and Michigan fell to 25. Butler's at 68 votes, UCLA, SF Austin, a couple other teams are on the bubble. So, do you have some of the upsets that we've had the past couple weeks, Alex, or no?
Baylor lost to TCU. That's what kind of dropped them down by 2. Maryland just lost to Rutgers like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, really?
So that kind of makes the Big Ten up for grabs. Let's see what that standings is currently. So they are a half game ahead. Oh, sorry. They are tied with Michigan State currently.
Michigan State just beat Penn State.
Yep, and then they're a half game ahead of Illinois and Wisconsin. So Wisconsin plays Northwestern, who's at the bottom of the Big Ten, and Indiana, who's not doing great. So, I mean, I hate to be a homer, but there's a chance that Wisconsin could win the Big Ten in the regular season. They play the easiest schedule of the teams in the hunt.
That's left, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, I see that Iowa is losing 42-25 at halftime, so they're gonna be maybe bouncing out of the top 25
To
to
Purdue also.
Yep. All right, but what we're going to do right now is we're gonna talk about some conference tourney predictions that we have. So we're gonna try to go through every conference. There's quite a few, but we'll go through them quick. Some of the little conferences will know that if there's a ranked team and no one else is ranked, obviously they'll probably be the top. So let's start it out on the American Basketball Conference. In this conference, we have two teams tied at the top, 12-4. The Houston Cougars, who are ranked 21, and the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes, who are not ranked at all. I'm going to let you know, Alex. I think Houston's going to win this conference.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can give a little bit of context. So I watched the game against Cincinnati, who's probably their biggest competitor in that. They were beating them on offensive rebounds by 20, and they were shooting lights out from three. I mean, they were playing at their peak performance this past weekend, so they're carrying it into the tournament. I think that Houston wins that. I think they play against Cincinnati in the championship, but Houston is going to win that tournament.
All right. So we'll move on to a more interesting conference, the ACC. At the top of the ACC right now, we have the Louisville Cardinals at 15-4. At 14-4, the Florida State. 14-5 is the Duke Blue Devils, and 13-5 is Virginia. No other teams in the conference are ranked, but Syracuse is 10-9. Personally, I freaking love Louisville this year. What I think might happen is Duke's going to make the stupid push and get a higher seed in the bracket, and they're going to end up winning the ACC.
That's your pick, is Duke?
I'm going to go with I'm going to say Duke.
I'm going to say Louisville. Duke's been on kind of a slide. They've lost 2 of their last 3 games, both to unranked opponents, both to teams that are in the bottom half of their conference. Louisville's in top 10 in efficiency. They're top 10 in offense and defense both. So, yeah, I think Jordan Nwora is playmaking point guard for them. He's insane. So I'm going to take Louisville, even though they've been struggling recently.
All right. Sounds good. Let's move on to what's our next conference. I can't find my mouse. The American East, or America East. Nothing too special here.
This is Vermont.
Yeah, Vermont is going to take it.
There's no other team that is even considered for an at-large in the tournament. So, I mean, Vermont's going to win this one easily.
Yeah. All right.
We move past that.
The Atlantic 10, probably about the same thing. They got about one team. The Dayton Flyers. Dayton they're going to be good. The tournament time comes around. I hope they don't shit the bed, but they're going to be good. Obi Toppin. Is that his name?
Yep.
Goon.
He's just a human highlight reel.
He is.
And the one thing about Dayton is that their 2 losses have come at neutral sites.
And they're
overtime,
they're out of conference.
Both to Kansas. Yeah, against Kansas and Colorado, I believe. And I think it's like combined 4 points or something like that. So it's Dayton is an incredible team who I think should be a 1 seed.
I could see them getting a 1 seed, honestly. They're the 3.
I think by the time that the bracket's revealed,
they're ranked at 3. They only have 2 losses, right? They could be.
Yeah.
As long as Duke or someone doesn't make a stupid push, we'll have to see.
Well, and I think what will help them is that we'll talk about the Big 12 later, but I don't think that if unless Baylor wins the Big 12, there's not going to be 2 Big 12 teams that are ranked at the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dayton for this conference.
Yep. All right. Our next conference is the Atlantic Sun. No ranked teams, but we do have Liberty at 13-3 and North Florida at 13-3. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark, and I'm gonna say Liberty wins this one.
Yeah, Liberty were an incredible 3-point shooting team last year. They are an incredible 3-point shooting team again this year.
They were in the tournament last year, right?
Yeah, they were a 12 seed last year, and currently they are a. Here, give me 1 second. They are a 12 seed again. So they're an incredible 3-point shooting team, like I said earlier. So that's what you need when it comes to the tournament. I think that they win this tournament pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I think South Florida doesn't even make it to the conference championship. Lipscomb has always been a decent team. I think that they play Lipscomb in the championship.
All right.
Not know much about them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out and
all right. Bold predictions. That's all we're about. Our next conference is the Big East Conference. This has Seton Hall at 13-3, Creighton at 11-5, Villanova at 11-5, and Providence at 10-6. I freaking love Marquette, but they're bad. Georgetown's awful. No one else in that division's good. I remember back in the day when Georgetown, Xavier, and Butler were just stacked on this conference.
When Butler had Gordon Hayward and
the young Gordon Hayward, they were good. But obviously dynasties fall and new ones come up, and it looks like Seton Hall the past couple of years they've been pretty good. They've made the tournament the last 3, I think, or 2. Going to be 3. So I'm gonna say personally that Seton Hall is gonna win this.
Yeah.
Seton Hall. I think it's gonna be Seton Hall and Creighton in the championship, and I think Seton Hall takes it.
Yeah, I think for me, Villanova will be in the championship just because Jay Wright is an incredible coach, and they seem to always win when it comes to tournament time. But I've been saying since early January that Seton Hall is an Elite 8 team. They have Miles Powell, who is a Player of the Year candidate. He's going to be a top 3 at least. They continue to play probably in the second best conference in college basketball, behind the Big Ten in terms of the rankings that they have. They have a couple slip-ups, but I mean, with this year, there's not any real team that's a power aside from Kansas.
Yeah.
So I think that Seton Hall is for sure an Elite 8 team and will most likely win this tournament. But if not, it'll be Villanova because of their
coaching
experience in tournament time.
Yeah. All right. The Big Sky Conference, no ranked teams, but they do have 2 teams at the top: the Eastern Washington Eagles at 14-4, Montana Grizzlies at 14-4, and the Northern Colorado Bears at 13-5. I'm gonna go out on a limb between the 2 teams that are tied at first. I'm gonna say Eastern Washington wins just because they have more out of conference wins. Maybe playing a little better.
Yeah, they've been on a 5-game win streak. I'm gonna go with Northern Colorado. I don't know what exactly is telling me this, but I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that I think Northern Colorado will win that conference.
All right. Our next one is the Big South, and in the Big South, same kind of deal as the last one, the Big Sky. We got the Winthrop Eagles at 15-3, Radford at 15-3, and then it really falls off. We got Gardner Webb at 11-7, and no one else is kind of in contention there. I'm gonna go out on these top two teams are pretty good. I'm gonna say, since I don't see any AP or USA poll votes for whatever or ranked teams for the Radford Highlanders, I'm gonna go with the Winthrop Eagles.
Yeah, so I'm just pulling this up now. It's saying that Winthrop has a 34% chance of winning this championship. Radford has a 46% chance. I'm gonna say Winthrop though. I'm not exactly sure why again, but they've won against an AP top 25 team.
Yeah.
So I mean, that has to stand for something.
Exactly.
I think that's Winthrop winning this conference.
All right. let's move on to the Big 12. We got Kansas at 15-1, Baylor at 15-2, Texas Tech at 9-8. It's going to come down to those top two teams. They're both in the top 5. Both very competitive. Baylor's 6-1 against top 25 teams, and Kansas is 4-3. So, it's not really an upset if Baylor wins because they were projected 1. These two teams kind of flip-flopped the past 2 weeks. But I'm going to go with Kansas. I think experience and coaching, like you said about Villanova, I just think that Kansas is a more fundamentally sound team than Baylor is.
Yeah, Bill Self has done a great job. Azubuike is their center. He is Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I mean, their defensive efficiency is number 1 in the country. Same with their adjusted efficiency overall. They're number 1 in the net rankings, number 1 in the RPI, number 1 in the Ken Pom rankings. They are the clear-cut number 1 team in college basketball in my eyes. Their only losses come to Baylor, and I'm trying to find. I know who would they? Duke on the first game of the year, Villanova and Baylor. I mean, you don't get any better losses than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Duke's going to be just 2-3 seeds and a 1 seed right now. So they're the best team in the country. Kansas is going to win that conference.
All right. The Big West. Oh, there's so many teams. Okay, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say UC Irvine wins. They're the only team with double-digit wins in this conference, 13-2. That is who I am picking.
I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to say UC Irvine as well.
No more needs to be said about these little conferences besides what team is the best in there right now. We could have an upset, but you never know. The Colonial, or the CAA, Colonial Athletic Association Conference, the Hofstra Pride at 14-4, William and Mary Tribe at 13-5, Towson Tigers at 12-6. There's a lot of double-digit teams in here, but none of them are good. And I'm just going to stop myself from reading all these, and I'm going to go on a limb and say the Hofstra Pride wins this conference.
Yeah, that's actually a great pick because Hofstra beat UCLA, who is the hottest team in college basketball. They've won 7 straight games. They have vaulted themselves from not even being in the NIT to being in the tournament as we stand right now. They're alone at the top of the Pac-12. Hofstra is going to run away with this. I'm positive.
All right. We're going to the CUSA. In here, there's only 3 double-digit teams. North Texas, Western Kentucky, and Louisville Tech, none of which are ranked. I don't even know who to vote for here. Any team that's played top 25 teams in this conference have all lost.
There's not been a win in the top 25.
Nope. I'm going to go and say North Texas wins it. North Texas, just because of experience in the top 25, they played 3 games. Everyone else has only played 1 or 2. Except that.
I'm trying to. The one thing that stands out to me is that nobody has a winning record on the road except for North Texas. And as you know, conference tournaments are not played at their home court.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of picking the leader in the conference standings, but I mean,
yeah,
with these smaller schools, it's kind of hard to gauge.
Exactly.
So I think North Texas wins it just because they're the best team on the road when it comes to their conference.
Mm-hmm. All right, so our next conference is the Horizon League Conference. Wright State's 15-3 and Northern Kentucky's 13-5. The Green Bay Phoenix is 11-7, and Youngstown 10-8. UIC 10-8. Some good teams. None of the top 2 teams in here have not played a team in the top 25. What I will say is I have no idea who I'm going to pick here.
I'm trying to see if there's any wins that stand out for any of them, which none of them really do.
It's just gonna be like when you take trash and a fire and you put them together. It's just gonna be a trash fire. You understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I feel like this is the conference that a team that definitely shouldn't win it, wins it, and I'm going to go with the homer pick. I don't watch any of these, any of this team at all, but I'm going to take the Green Bay Phoenix. They're currently third in the standings. I don't know anything about them.
Yep.
But just based off this conference being as mediocre as it
if you
gets,
think about it, if you look at it, they've played a top 25 team and lost, but they are the top 3 teams in this conference. They are the only team that's played a top team.
Yeah, they lost to Purdue by 22 points,
and Purdue is not even ranked right now.
Yeah, so I mean, they played UCF, they played Xavier, they played Wisconsin and New Mexico, and those are all tournament teams. This is the best team in the conference. I'm going to go on a limb and say it right now that Green Bay wins this conference. Okay. Even though this is about the most mediocre.
None of these teams are going to make the tournament, even if they win. So,
well, they get an auto bid if they win the conference tournament.
Oh, really? I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so that's what it all is all about. Is that say a team that's not going to make the tournament wins their conference tournament, they steal a bid from an automatic qualifier that was on the bubble.
True. All right.
So that's what's at stake for these kind of bubble teams. Which one are we on here?
We're on the Ivy League, and I am going to take a stab in the dark, and I'm going to say Harvard. No, I'm just kidding. Yale's going to win this one. Yale's 10-2, Harvard's 9-3, Princeton's 8-4. I'm going to say Yale.
I've heard a few things about Yale. They're good at three-point shooting. They are good at three-point shooting every year. They have about 11 white guys on their roster that can just cast up threes from about 30 feet. So that's about every year's roster. I'm going to say that Yale wins it.
Yeah. I feel like there's always those teams that just can shoot really well but can't get inside.
Yeah, and this conference tournament only has 4 teams in it, which is really weird. They only have a 2-day tournament, so
wow.
Those other, like Cornell, rip to Andy from The Office. He can't cheer on his big red.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on to the MAAC, or the MAC conference. It looks like Siena Saints are 13-5. They're at the top, and St. Peter's Peacocks are 13-6, right behind them. I'm gonna say the Siena Saints win, just because it looks like they're on a kind of a roll right now. They've played a top 25 team, but they're 7 games in a row that they've won. They're undefeated at home. They are 4-10 on the road, though. That's kind of bad.
Let's see who they played in the top 25. They lost to Xavier by 18 points. They also lost to Yale and Harvard. So it seems like this conference is bad all around. I'm going to just say Siena just because I don't know anybody else.
Okay. Now we're in the MAC conference. After I just said that. The East, do they just take top? They get seeded like the Big Ten does?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so like Akron, right?
Oh, actually, they break it into fours. So there's 12 teams. They break it into fours, and the top 8 make it to the conference tournament, and the bottom 4 don't. So basically, there's 4 teams that aren't going to make it. Akron will be the 1 seed,
and UNI will be, or NIU will be. No, they'd be the 3, or unless they take one from the top, whatever, however it works.
Yeah.
I think Akron looks like the most overall best team in both of these East or West Conference.
Yeah. They look unstoppable at home.
They're 8-4 on the road. I don't think no one else has a winning record on the road, and they're 8-4.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Akron as well.
I think that's a very
That road
good
record
deciding factor. Is road,
winning on the road. Yeah.
Now we're in the Mid-East Conference. Two teams tied at the top. North Carolina A&T Aggies or the North Carolina Central Eagles at 12-3. You got Norfolk State, Florida A&M. It's tough. It's tied. Literally almost the same stats. Besides, no, they literally have almost the same record. They're the Aggies are 11-1 at home. The Eagles are 11-0 at home. The Aggies are 4-11 away, and the Eagles are 5-13 away. And they're both on a 4-game win streak.
I was looking at the bracket that CBS came out a couple days ago, and North Carolina Central was in that, and I was trying to see where they are in the net when I was doing my little spreadsheet thing, and they are outside of the top 200 in net rankings, so they are easily the worst team that was in the tournament, and that was just based on that they were winning their conference. So I'm going to say that A&T wins this over Central, just because Central just looks awful.
Okay. All right, moving on to we're gonna skip over some of these.
Yeah, some of these don't even matter. Let's just do Mountain West. That'll be San Diego State.
Yeah, no one else is gonna beat them. They're gonna win every game. Who else do we have?
Pac-12.
Yeah, we can go the Pac-12. Pac-12 has UCLA at 12-5, Oregon at 11-5, ASU at 10-6, Colorado and USC are both 10-7. USC, you said they're on a tear. Oregon looked good at the beginning of the season. They like to shoot the 3 ball. They're 6-2 against top 25 opponents. UCLA is only 3-2, so I'm gonna say this is a tough one. Have they played each other yet?
Yeah, but they played each other twice.
So let's see. UCLA. So Oregon beat UCLA 96-75.
Oh, then they played once.
Yeah. Could it be different? Yeah, it could be a different outcome, but I'm gonna say that Oregon wins this one.
Personally, being a Wisconsin Badger fan, I am a hater of Peyton Pritchard. I do not like that guy, and he is the point guard for Oregon. So, for all I care, they can lose in their first game. I'm gonna say Arizona State just because they're a good 3-point shooting team. They have 3 guards that can control the ball and can drive. So the spacing is always an issue for teams, or it has been. Before this 2-game losing streak, I think that they'll right the ship though, and I think they'll win the conference tournament.
I think that this conference has a lot of skill, and it's going to be very competitive. If that makes sense, it's just going to be.
Yeah,
it's
going to be
close. It's going to be.
Anybody
it's going to be
win
exactly like the Big Ten's going to turn out. There's so many good teams. It's going to be close games every time. It's going to be fun to watch. Very competitive. Let's move on to the SEC. In the SEC, we have Kentucky at 14-2, Auburn at 11-5, LSU at 11-5, Florida at 10-6, Mississippi State, Southern Carolina at 10-7. I'm gonna say Kentucky wins it. I don't. They look pretty unstoppable at the moment.
Yeah, Emmanuel Quickly and Nick Richards are the best players in the SEC. Like, they are going to be 1 and 2 in SEC Player of the Year, aside from Isaac Curl from Auburn. They're beating Tennessee right now by 7. Kentucky is playing extremely well. They're just being rated low in the brackets because of their loss to Evansville, which might be the worst loss in college basketball recent memory, for me at least.
Yeah.
But Kentucky is playing extremely well. It could be a Final Four team in my eyes. So I'm all in a Kentucky.
All right, we're gonna go to the Summit League. We got one question to answer. Do you take North Dakota State Bison, or do you go for the South Dakota State Jackrabbits? Both have the same record, basically the same complete record. SDSU is 16-0 at home. Wow.
Wow.
I really want to see SDSU go, so I'm gonna say SDSU beats NDSU.
I'll take that. I'll take that as well. I'm okay with that. West Coast. Do you think anyone besides Gonzaga wins that? BYU is also ranked 15. They beat Gonzaga, but that was at their home court, and that home court is incredible at the Marriott Center. I think Gonzaga wins it. Even though I hate Gonzaga, how they're always ranked so high, even though they play garbage teams.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Let's move on to our last conference. We're just going to say it's our last one because I don't know what else is down there. Sun Belt. Is anyone in the Sun Belt Conference? No.
Not really.
All right, so we'll just go straight to the Big Ten, the one we've all been waiting for, because the Big Ten is... They're proving themselves this year. They have proven that they have a lot of competition. They have a lot of teams that want to make the tournament, and everyone's competing except Minnesota, Northwestern, and Nebraska. So, I feel like everyone in this conference has had their spot in the top 25 at one point during the season.
Yeah, I mean, and Minnesota and up all technically have a shot to get an at-large bid for the tournament. Minnesota's not dead yet.
Yep.
They have to win probably 3 more games in the conference tournament. I don't think it happens, but that just speaks to how good the conference is. There's 8 ranked teams in the AP top 25. Given they are 15 and below for 6 or 7 of them, but the volume is there.
Yep, exactly.
And
well,
it's a long way from where it was 3 or 4 years ago when there was 3 teams that were good.
Exactly. And I mean, looking at this right now from the games that have already been played today, Maryland's at the top at 13-6, but they did lose by 11 to Rutgers, who is 10-9. They're not ranked. MSU beat Penn State. Hopefully, there probably won't be much moving around. They might be out of the top 25. We don't know. Purdue is currently beating Iowa 57-42 with 9 minutes left in the second. Iowa can move down. Purdue could jump back in. You never know. But for this conference, I really want Wisconsin to win it, okay? No homer action. It is homer action. I want them to win it because that's what I root for. But personally, I think that Michigan State is the most all-around team in this conference. So I'm going to take Michigan State as my winner of the Big Ten, but I'm going to have Michigan State playing Wisconsin in the championship.
Yeah, Michigan State, I think, is in over Maryland. They beat Maryland by 16 points, I believe, this past weekend. They're playing really well. Tom Izzo always has this team ready for the tournament. He's an incredible coach. But I think it's incredibly homer, but I could give a little bit for reason why it could happen. I think Wisconsin wins this tournament. They've won 6 in a row. They've shot the most three-pointers in the past 7 games out of everybody in the Big Ten. They are currently 24 in player efficiency rating. They have a top 10 strength of schedule. They've played worthy opponents, obviously, with the Big Ten. And on the KenPom website, they have defense and offensive dependent. And on one side, you have teams that are incredibly defensive dependent, like who is this? This is Virginia, who doesn't score any points. They just
play defense.
Hold teams to below 60.
Yeah.
Wisconsin is in the middle. They are, I believe, 1 point leaning towards defensive dependent. So they are about as balanced as it gets. They don't foul. They shoot, I think, upwards of above 80% from the free throw line, which is great for tournament. So, yeah, I think Wisconsin could win the tournament, actually, given that they've won 6 straight and they play a cupcake schedule heading in.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Anything can happen in March. Just to update everyone that's listening, these conference tournaments happen between some of them started today, March 3rd. but they do go up until the 15th, I believe, is like one of the last days that games are being played before.
Yeah, the Big Ten is the last tournament, our conference tournament that's done
on the 15th, and then there's Selection Sunday after that, and then we get into the action, what we've all been waiting for. So I think that's gonna do it here from me and Alex. We're at about minute 15. Holy God, I wish it was only a minute 15. We're at about an hour and 15 minutes. So if you guys are listening, thank you so much for giving us the support.
If you made it this far.
If you made it this far, we can't thank you enough for the support you guys give us. Here on our Podbean website where we go through our podcast, it will be up on Spotify and YouTube, I believe, maybe even Apple, I'm not sure, but we can't thank you guys enough for coming and tuning in. Love the support. We'll keep doing it if you guys want to keep listening to it. So we're trying to get ads, honestly, trying to make some money off this, but we never know.
Yeah, why
I
not?
don't know. So yeah, I don't have anything else unless you have something.
I think that's it for me.
All right, well, we will hopefully see you guys next week. It is my spring break, so it might be a later episode towards the end of the week, probably like Saturday. Is that the 15th already? Saturday's the 14th.
That's the 14th.
So there will be somewhere between the 14th and the 17th. There'll be
we should have an update on Monday after the bracket gets revealed.
Yeah. Once March Madness, once the bracket's finalized, we'll come out with a new episode, and we'll talk you through it, break it down, let everyone know. But that will conclude me and Alex from the On Season Sports Podcast. Again, I can't stress it enough. We can't thank everyone for all the support.